Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. If you don't know me, I am the Mark of the Masses, the man with the plan. Big Ray here to stay to talk some WWE Monday Night Raw 2014. That is 9/1/2014, September 1st. It is Labor Day here in the United States, and I want to wish everybody here a belated Happy Labor Day if you are from the United States. Now, we start off Raw with an interesting segment. It's the highlight reel. Basically, Chris Jericho welcomes everyone to Raw is Jericho, and then he starts introducing Randy Orton, and he says, you know, how Randy Orton basically never earned anything. He never did anything to basically, you know, get all the title shots, that he never really worked a day in his life, so on and so forth. Anyway, he's introducing him, and he gets interrupted by Triple H, and Triple H comes down to the ring with Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Kane. So now we have the entire authority coming to the ring, well dressed, I might add. Now Chris Jericho now they start smack talking. Chris Jericho says, well, I didn't expect the sellout, the suck up, and the schnoz to show up, which is pretty funny. I gotta be honest with you guys. Really funny stuff. Now Kane interrupts, but then Triple H actually grabs the mic from him, and he basically says that Jericho, we need to conduct some serious business. Jericho responds, and he says, well, I don't know how you can, you know, conduct your serious business, you know, with your wife getting arrested, so on and so forth. And they keep going back and forth and blah blah blah. And Triple H basically says that Chris Jericho should thank him, because this highlight reel will be extremely memorable because of what Triple H has to say. Now, basically, long story short, Triple H speaks about John Cena's match with Brock Lesnar, and by the way, you can watch that on WWE Network for $9.99, of course. Now, basically, he keeps putting that over, and he basically says that being Triple H, is not sure, or he doesn't think that putting John Cena in that match is best for business. So basically, everybody starts, he basically says that he's going to put in a #1 contender. There's going to be a brand new #1 contender, and of course, Randy Orton says he thinks he should be #1. Kane thinks he should be #1. Seth Rollins, who got a huge pop from the crowd because this being his hometown, gets a huge pop from the crowd, saying that the future has already arrived, so on and so forth. Now Jericho puts himself over, saying that he's 6-time WWE champion, and he should definitely be the #1 contender. Now while all this is going on, John Cena now comes to the ring, and he's basically saying that, look, Triple H, if you decide to not give me my rematch, which he invoked his rematch clause, he's going to sue Triple H, and he's going to own the WWE, or he's going to be the new CEO or COO of the WWE, and he will basically fire. He's going to fire Triple H. Now, Triple H actually made a pretty funny thing where he said that John Cena was going to have a new T-shirt, Hustle, Loyalty, Respect, and a lawsuit. So, pretty funny stuff going back and forth. Nice banter between them. Now, Triple H says that he's basically trying to protect John Cena, and it is best for business. And again, $9.99 was brought up a couple more times, so on and so forth, with the WWE Network. Now, Orton says that, Rollins actually says that John Cena should have the rematch. Worst case scenario is always a plan B. And then Chris Jericho says, well, Randy Orton shouldn't have a rematch because he's had over 4,000 title matches and he's never won one, so on and so forth. But again, they go back and forth. And again, like I just stated, Rollins thinks that John Cena should just get the title match, and Orton agrees. Basically, plan B, that being maybe John Cena getting decimated and maybe Rollins coming to the ring and cashing in the Money in the Bank or whatever. So now Randy Orton starts talking crap about Roman Reigns, and he basically says that he'd basically take him out if Roman Reigns was in his face, and Roman Reigns comes down to the ring, and Roman Reigns basically says that he definitely belongs in the title picture. Now here's the funny thing, when Roman Reigns said that, there was absolutely no reaction from the crowd, and this is a telling statement now made by the crowd. And a lot of people have been saying this, that Roman Reigns has not shown any type of championship pedigree, and I gotta agree totally at 100%. Roman Reigns is a 4-trick pony. At least John Cena has the 5 moves of doom. Roman Reigns, 3, if that. Samoan drop kick from the outside onto the apron, and super punch. Anyway, so basically this segment ends where Triple H says that there's going to be a 6-man tag team match, and well, Seth Rollins, while Roman Reigns' back was turned, tries to hit him with the briefcase, but it doesn't work out. So now we're going to jump into a match with Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Cesaro, along with Damien Mizdow and a makeup artist. Now, you know, you can say what you want to say, and again, I always felt that Damien Sandow is probably one of the most talented, underutilized wrestlers on the WWE roster, but he is on TV every single week now. The Miz comes down with a makeup artist, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm very, very happy with the direction that they actually took the Miz's character. I like the new Miz's character, and I kind of like Damien Sandow kind of going back and forth and working with the Miz. It can open doors for Damien Sandow to break out. You may ask how. Well, you know, Damien Sandow, I believe, is better as a heel, but it could be a possible face turn if the Miz continues to mistreat Damien Sandow. And what do I mean? Well, let's jump into the match now. We basically start the match off, and there's a lot of good chain wrestling between Ziggler and Cesaro. It was actually a pretty decent match. We come back after a break, and we see Sheamus, and we see the Miz getting, well, the Miz is getting makeup applied to him at ringside, and it happens multiple times during the match. Now, during this the altercation between the Miz and Dolph Ziggler actually going for a drop kick. The Miz actually escapes the ring and calls in Damien Mizdow. Yes, he calls in his stunt double. I was going to say body double, which basically is what it was. And all Damien Mizdow got was a zigzag from Dolph Ziggler. But what it did do is it actually kind of distracted Dolph Ziggler, and well, you know what happens at that point? Skull-crushing finale. The Miz goes over, hitting it on Dolph Ziggler. So that team goes over, and pretty cool match. I actually enjoyed it. Now, we have these segments that play throughout the night. Growing Up Bella. And Nikki goes into talking about how Brie stole her prom date. And it was pretty entertaining stuff. I mean, again, this is my opinion. I would love to know what you guys think. Please leave your comments here below at OneWrestling.com, YouTube /OneWrestlingVideo, or just hit me up on Twitter at Big Ray Show or at OneWrestling. Now, we move on to a match in which I really didn't give a damn about. It was Cameron, Rosa Mendez, Eva Marie versus Summer Rae, Layla, and Naomi. And basically, Layla kept control of the match, and it was broken up by Cameron, and Layla attacks Cameron, and the whole fight breaks out, and basically it was a double disqualification. It was a pretty much throwaway match, filler match, bathroom break match, whatever you want to call it. Now, we jump into an interesting match, and I say interesting because I actually like this tag team, and a lot of people are saying, well, why? People have asked me personally, why? Well, you got the Big Show and Mark Henry versus Erick Rowan and Luke Harper. And I gotta be honest with you, man. When I see the Big Show and Mark Henry, and I've mentioned this before, they kind of remind me of the Natural Disasters. If you guys don't know, go into the WWE Network for $9.99, and you can watch a hurricane. You can watch Typhoon and Earthquake. If you guys don't know who it is, well, Typhoon ended up being the Shockmaster, but anyway, and Earthquake ended up being Shark or whoever the hell he was in WCW. But it was actually, these guys, I like them a lot. And Big Show is actually, I don't know if it's just me, but Big Show looks fantastic. He is moving around like he hasn't moved around in many, many, many years. And I think the tag team division is great for these two competitors. Why? Because it basically elongates their career a little bit and gives them some rest. They don't have to wrestle the entire match. Now, towards the end of the match, we had the Big Show going at it with Erick Rowan. They start fighting outside, leaving basically Mark Henry and Harper in the ring. Now, Mark Henry goes for the World's Strongest Slam, but out of nowhere, Rusev had, well, he had walked down the ring with a beautiful, sexy Lana, and he gives him a jumping side kick to the face, a lot kick, right to the face and, well, to disqualification. So Mark Henry and the Big Show go over. But Mark Henry was not happy. And would you be happy if you get kicked in the face by a big Bulgarian Russian guy? Anyway. So now, more growing up Bella. We have Nikki Bella. And she starts talking about how, I don't know, how Bree stole her driver's license. And she got into a car accident. And long story short, anyway, Bree basically blamed Nikki for the accident. So now we go to Paul Heyman. And he's introduced and he states that he is authorized to talk about John Cena's overcompensatory, I can't even say the word over because it's been a long night. Anyway, behavior. And he basically goes into breaking down or explaining what's going on. Anyway, it was a typical Paul Heyman promo, and he really tore down John Cena, saying that he was emasculated, so on and so forth, and he basically puts over the match for Night of Champions. Now, here's something really interesting. Now, Michael Sam, who was just let go or cut from the St. Louis Rams, and now if you guys don't know who this is the NFL's first openly homosexual football player. Now, apparently, he's been invited to Monday Night Raw to talk or to kind of give his side of the story. And I'm really, really extremely interested to find out what the hell the WWE is doing regarding having this gentleman come to the WWE and talk. Well, I mean, let's just be real. WWE is probably looking for publicity, and they will get publicity if Michael Sam shows up on Raw. And I'm kind of under the assumption that Michael Sam is, since he's not signed by, or bound by contracts, he is trying to get signed as a practice player for the St. Louis Rams, or I think any other team can pick him up at this point in juncture, but I have a good sense that he is going to show up on Monday Night Raw. So next week, we find out if Michael Sam actually will show up Monday Night Raw. So now, we have Jack Swagger versus Curtis Axel, and I was excited and happy to see Dirty Dutch Mantel, aka Sept Colter, come to the ring as his manager. Now, during the match, Bo Dallas comes to the ring. Now, while he's on the ramp, he's setting up 3 chairs, and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is going on? What is Bo Dallas doing? Long story short, Jack Swagger is able to put on the ankle lock and tap out Curtis Axel. So we go to the top of the stage, and Bo Dallas basically, he congratulates Jack Swagger on his victory over Curtis Axel, which, it's not a big feat. Again, it's my opinion. And he introduces a few of the 318 million Americans who were let down by Jack Swagger's loss to Rusev in SummerSlam. And it was actually one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Bo Dallas first introduces Richie, who apparently bet everything that he had. God, this is ridiculous. I'm reading over my notes, and this is probably one of the most ridiculous things. He bet everything that he had on Jack Swagger, and he lost everything that he had because he bet on Jack Swagger at SummerSlam. And then we have Angelo, who was introduced as an immigrant who failed his citizenship test due to Jack Swagger's loss. And then we have Jennifer, and it is revealed that Jennifer, her son, her favorite wrestler was Jack Swagger, and I've never met anyone whose favorite wrestler is Jack Swagger, let alone a child. I have a 6-year-old son, and his favorite wrestler is John Cena. That makes more sense. But apparently, her son now wants to be like Vladimir Putin. Oh, God. Pretty funny stuff. Finally, after all the introductions, Bo says, everybody stand up. Stand up. You can all overcome this stuff, all these negativities, all these failures, if you just believe. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was some good stuff. So next we jump into another match that nobody really gives a damn about. We have Adam Rose versus Titus O'Neil with Heath Slater in the corner. Now, Titus O'Neil basically took control of the match really early, and during the match, Heath Slater is cheering on Titus O'Neil like an idiot. And the Bunny, who for the first time, if I remember correctly, is standing along ringside, basically the bunny is pushed down by Heath Slater, because the bunny was getting in the face of Heath Slater outside the ring, shaking his bunny tail or behind or whatever the hell you want to call it. And, well, the bunny takes Slater down with a double leg takedown and proceeds to slap the living crap out of Heath Slater on the ground. I don't know if he was trying to throw punches, it looked like slaps to me. And this basically worked as a distraction for Titus O'Neil, who got rolled up for the 1-2-3. So Adam Rose, who we haven't seen on WWE TV in quite some time, Adam Rose goes over in this match, and I have no idea why this match even happened. Now, Adam Rose, interesting. He was extremely over in NXT. When he came over to WWE, apparently that character did not translate. And I was a big fan of the Leo Kruger character in NXT, I mean, he was doing it for a long time. Now, this is my idea. Tell me what you guys think. Again, just throwing it against the wall, see if it sticks. Why don't we have Adam Rose continue to be Adam Rose, but he has a dark side. He goes to a dark place, and that dark place is the character of Leo Kruger. How would you book it, ladies and gentlemen? I want to know what you guys think. Anyway, we're going to move on. We have even more growing up Bella. And this time we have Nikki, and she talks about how Brie basically, let me just read my notes here. Brie asked Nikki to take her high school finals for her. Brie passed with flying colors. Nikki, not so much. So really, the segments are getting more and more entertaining and people may not like this whole, and I gotta be honest, I wasn't really into this whole, I guess, let's say, feud between the sisters, but Nikki has totally won me over, and she is playing the consummate heel. Brie, not so much. So, I mean, again, that's my opinion, guys. I think Brie is just not going over is believable, but Nikki is doing a fantastic job, and I think that she's really winning me over in the court of public opinion. Again, I would like to know what you guys think. Now, we have a match between Rusev and Jack Swagger, which is basically, of course, you know, it's a squash match between Zack Ryder and Rusev. And Rusev basically locks on the accolade, and Jack Swagger taps out. Now, after the match, Mark Henry comes to the ring, and Mark Henry, looking for the revenge on the big kick to the face, Rusev does not stick around. Excuse me. Rusev basically runs out, and Henry asks Rusev if he's scared. And I gotta be honest with you, Mark Henry, you say what you want to say about Mark Henry. A lot of people say he sucks, he's overrated, so on and so forth. Mark Henry puts in his work, guys. If he's not injured, ladies and gentlemen, I think Mark Henry is actually really good, and he puts forth some really believable promos. Come on, just look at the promo he did when John Cena, the whole thing when he was retiring. I mean, he should have won a friggin' Academy Award for that, again, in my opinion. But anyway, he basically asked Rusev if he's scared, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm scared too. I'm scared that if I caught you, you wouldn't put my hands on you, boy. I wouldn't know what I would do." Really good. And this is the funny thing. You got Mark Henry basically in two major feuds versus the Wyatts, and also now he's in a feud with Rusev. And you know, people may not think that Mark Henry has a really good shot at taking Rusev out. I do see it. It is definitely possible, and I'm not going kayfabe here. I think it's a more valuable feud if they go back and forth, having Mark Henry win the first out of the multiple matches these guys have. No matter how Mark Henry actually wins, he can actually, Lana can always say that it was Rusev not being 100% versus the world's strongest man. You know, I mean, again, that's my opinion. But Mark Henry did tell everyone that he just opened up an international wing of the Hall of Pain, and Rusev Pachka is going to be the first inductee. So looks like Mark Henry's bringing back that Hall of Pain, which is one of my favorite runs that Mark Henry actually had. Now we're winding the show down little by little. Now Stephanie McMahon backstage is talking about the whole growing up Bella segments, and she's talking to Triple H, and she's putting Brie over, and she's basically making her sound like a victim. Now basically Stephanie comes out to the ring. She says she has a major announcement. Long story short, after she puts over Nikki Bella and she puts down Brie Bella as being the bad sister, the sister that basically doesn't do anything for her sister. She explains how Nikki Bella is going to be the #1 contender or get a Divas title shot versus Paige. Well, this brings out Brie Bella, and then that brings out the champion Paige, and that brings out AJ Lee, and they're basically all in discussion over who's going to be the #1 contender. Well, Nikki says to her sister, "Look, I'll forgive you." Oh, she basically screams that she'll forgive her if she quits, and obviously it doesn't work out. But Brie Bella just couldn't take it anymore. She shoves Brie Bella, and Brie Bella goes flying into Paige, and Paige gets knocked down, dropping her title to the ground. And who picks it up? Of course, the lovely AJ Lee, or AJ Punk. She basically picks it up, and she's skipping around the ring, and she goes face to face with Stephanie McMahon, who towers over AJ Lee. And I was watching this, and I said to myself, damn, I wonder, would the WWE really consider putting the belt back? Well, not belt back, because Stephanie McMahon has never been the Divas champion. She was WWE Women's champion. But I wonder if it would be interesting to put the belt on Stephanie McMahon just for a little bit, even if it's just for a month. I think it would be cool, entertaining television. I mean, again, that's my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think. So basically, that was that. With that, and we move on. Now we have basically next week, the Miz TV is going to be featuring Dolph Ziggler, and we have a backstage segment with Big Show and Mark Henry as they're basically talking about how they're going to, take care of Rusev, and Big Show gives Henry, let's just say, a pep talk. Now, Paige versus Brie Bella is announced for SmackDown next week, or this week actually, and Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns is also announced for next week on Raw, which would be a pretty decent match. Another chance for Roman Reigns to show that he can be a main event player. Again, I do not think he is yet. So now we have Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Goldust. Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy Uso versus Goldust with Stardust in the corner. And listen, guys, there was a recap of the heel turn. It's a full heel turn. It definitely happened. Goldust basically took control of Jimmy Uso, and there was a lot of back and forth between the two guys, but there was some outside interference from Stardust, and Jimmy Uso was basically hit with the final cut for the victory after being distracted. Now after the match, we have Jay outside the ring, and well, I gotta tell you, man, Stardust and Goldust, a full heel, going after the leg of Jey Uso, and man, they wrapped his leg around that steel post and they smashed it. That being Stardust smashed it with a chair. Really, really cool. Now, we're going to jump into the main event of the evening, which is a 6-man tag team match. Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Kane versus John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Chris Jericho. Now, there was a loud "We Want Rollins" chant, and Jerry the King Lawler tried to put it over that the fans wanted Rollins in the ring with what's his name, with Roman Reigns and whatever. The fans, Seth Rollins was over. It's his hometown. That's what it was. I hate when they try to insult our intelligence, but it is what it is. Basically, long story short, John Cena was tagged in towards the end of the match. The whole melee broke out. John Cena basically clears the ring and hits the AA on Kane. John Cena then tags in Roman Reigns, who hits Kane with a spear for the win. Now, after the match, we have John Cena, who AAs Seth Rollins onto the announce table and then tells Triple H to get ready for Night of Champions. The good guys go over here. Now, here's my question to you, ladies and gentlemen. Do you honestly think John Cena has a snowball's chance in hell versus Brock Lesnar? Now, let's break kayfabe for a minute. If you were booking the match, would John Cena even have a chance? A lot of people believe that John Cena he'll show a lot of fight, and he'll put it on the World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar, but he will eventually lose the match, and maybe Paul Heyman getting involved. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena is a 15-time WWE World Champion, and there is a good chance, I don't care what anybody says, when John Cena is booked in a match, there is always a good chance that John Cena can actually win the match. Listen, guys, overall, this was a pretty decent Raw. Good build-up for Night of Champions. Nice build-up to some new feuds and some feuds that had been building for some time. I'm really digging the Mark Henry, Alexander Rusev feud. I think it's going to be actually a really good match. Not excellent, but not a 5-star. Obviously, these two guys are two big, strong guys, and Mark Henry definitely has the opportunity to actually win a match versus Rusev. Again, I don't know how it's going to happen. And again, we have Stardust and Goldust, who I believe will be tag team champions at the end of Night of Champions. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I say this every single week. I would do this for a living, but if I can, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us here every single week at OneWrestling.com, YouTube /OneWrestlingVideos. You can follow us on Twitter at OneWrestling. Follow me on Twitter at Big Ray Show. Follow Bill Apter on Twitter at AfterOneWrestling. And of course, the extended family, Andre Corbeil with his TNA reviews. Follow him at Andre_Corbeil. And don't forget, You Got the Show at You Got the Show on Twitter. That is Bill Schuyler. Back in the day, we have a great show. It's called One Wrestling Goes Old School. Check that out. Support the Can-Am Wrestling Show, ladies and gentlemen. Support our good buddy Billy Ray Valentine and his podcast, The Pro Wrestling Hustle. You can find it on iTunes and on Podbean. Guys, a lot of fun, really, really cool podcast. And of course, you can find Can-Am Wrestling episodes, and as well as One Wrestling Goes Old School episodes there on Podbean. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys here next week. And again, I apologize for late videos. The fact is, I'm not in my usual digs. I'm at work. I'm working the overnight for the next couple of weeks, so I'm going to have to be giving you Monday Night Raw. But I am a knowledgeable, passionate wrestling fan, like Andre Corbeil says, and I really care about what you guys think. So please leave your comments here below. Retweet this when I post it up, guys, and share it on YouTube. This has been Big Ray from OneWrestling.com. Like my protege, or I'm his protege, my mentor says, we'll see you at the matches.